What's going on, everybody? It is your host, Dr. Splash. You guys have been killing it with the like goals, all that on recent videos. I have a ton of projects coming up, and honestly, my voice has kind of been compromised last couple days, and my energy, like it's just been going in and out. So, took a break, been researching, been working on a whole bunch of stuff, been researching the shit out of Sonic, guys. Like, you don't understand. But, anyways, back on topic. Today, we're talking about Majik, arguably the most underrated character in Marvel, getting some shine now because of Marvel Rivals, but I need to let you guys know just how broken this character is. Let's get this to 400 plus likes. That would be absolutely amazing if you love my scaling content. And without further ado, let's begin. Now, we are going to bounce around a little bit. Majik doesn't have a ton of appearances, but she has enough to paint a very good picture, and I want to give you guys a complete understanding, an idea of what she's capable of, and why I believe she's not only the most potential-laden magic user in Marvel, but she's arguably the strongest too. So, first off, she instinctively, back when she was a child, made the Soul Sword. This magical weapon is one of the most coveted items in all of Marvel Comics throughout the entirety of creation. It was written on by even Cthulhu the Elder God in the Darkhold itself, and even Doctor Doom, the GOAT, considers this item to be absolutely invaluable. And this is important because this soul sword was not only created by her, but it's a manifestation of herself and her power as it contains an aspect of Eliana's soul. The soul sword itself has actually been compared to the spear of destiny. And due to the properties of the soul sword, potentially when wielding it, any sorcerer in its use potentially is unstoppable. It just depends on how far they are capable of taking it mentally. This sword in the hands of Majik, even as a child, could one-shot Belasco. Now, some of you, and rightfully so, might be saying who Belasco is, which is cool because we don't get to talk about him a lot. And, I've been thinking about covering the King of Hell Johnny Blaze story. Smash the likes and hit the comments if you want me to cover that in my typical story fashion because it's kind of lit. But Belasco got a lot of shine in it, right? He's lesser known but insanely powerful, and he's a Hell Lord from the realm of Limbo and Marvel. This realm itself and his power is capable of producing Hell Riders like he did with Danny Ketch that can battle King of Hell Johnny Blaze, and he, along with Lilith, can threaten to usurp all of the Hells. So to one shot with the Soul Sword is an incredible feat. Now, Majik carries Limbo itself within her, as she is one with the realm itself. This causes anomalies to occur whenever she's in certain situations. For example, perhaps one of my favorites, the mindless ones refused to attack her because they were like, what the fuck are we dealing with? This is important because this is the army of Dormammu. And they're quite literally conceptualized to not fear shit. They are rundown gang, personified. Like, no matter what you are, they're fucking running hands. Win or lose, because they're the mindless ones. They don't care. But they saw her and was like, what the hell is this? And I think it's because she literally has limbo inside of her. So she's probably perceived as literal limbo. So, like, imagine you have the brain capacity of nothing, literally nothing, just endless fades. And but the fades are people and creatures. And then you run up on something that at first appears to be a creature. Then you're like, holy shit, is this a realm? And you're like, what the hell? Even the mindless ones got aura hacks. Like, it's crazy. To fight her, essentially, is to fight the power of Limbo itself. At one point, Majik absorbed the entirety of Limbo itself in a moment of her panic. Even Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange was shocked someone could pull this off. And this is kind of funny because for further context, he was using basically a truth spell on her so that he knew she wasn't lying and there's no cap. And she was like, yeah, I fucked around, absorbed all of Limbo. I need your help understanding this power. And he was like, wait, holy shit, you absorbed all of Limbo? Like, who does that? What kind of crack baby are you? But yeah, even Doctor Strange was like, holy shit. And this is a Doctor Strange with classic Doctor Strange feats. Go on my channel and check out all the shit he did back in the day. I got plenty of content on him. But yeah, to impress Strange like that is quite insane. And to absorb all of Limbo, which you'll see how crazy that is in a little bit, absurd. As a young girl, this is something we have to speak on as well, because it's not just power with her. Her talent and intelligence was so absurd that Belasco kidnapped her as an apprentice and potential heir to the throne of Limbo. Eventually, this natural power and talent that he himself acknowledged and knew would be insane became too much, and it allowed her to create the Soul Sword, manipulate Acorn White creation magic with literal raw talent, and banish Belasco himself, which, by the way, she could have killed him. Crazy. To fight the Dark Child, or when she's on her hood rat shit, to fight the Dark Child in her own realm, would be a near suicide mission for even a pissed off Doctor Strange who has the Avengers watching his back. She literally was like, yo, run down if you want to, bitch. And Strange, unfortunately, Strange is low key from Yancey Street, so he had to run the fade. It ain't go too well for the boy. All right, her teleporting in discs from Limbo seem to have no conceptual limit, and she can even send things, outside of all reality. Um, Absolute extremes, and I'll get a little more into what Limbo and what reality and time streams and all that constitutes in Marvel in a little bit. While Doctor Strange, we had just previously talked about that encounter. While he didn't die fighting her, because obviously he's not going to want to kill Doctor Strange, he absolutely got cooked. He was like, "Yeah, no, that did not go well. Like, I got folded," and it was a pretty funny moment to see. But to casually just fold pissed off Doctor Strange like that, insanely impressive. Ever since even her earlier days when she's acknowledged, like we showed to Doctor Strange, she had no idea what she was doing. She was just balling. Her AP is consistent with the Soul Sword, as she one-tapped Scarlet Witch's magic, no problem. Her teleporting also seems to have no limit, whether time or space. So this means she can literally change the battlefield at any point, like diving through history, if need be, mid-fight. When she was trolling and pissing off the likes of Thor, who considers her a powerful dark witch, he couldn't even tag her point blank with Mjolnir, as she just straight up dodged that shit. And that's how fast her teleportation is in combat, in case you need like another solid speed feat for her. Because like I said, she doesn't always fight, so you don't always get to see just what she's capable of. She also broke the gem of Sidorak. It is important to note, and I think this is insanely impressive when we add this context to it. Juggernaut once fell through Oblivion itself, and Oblivion couldn't break the gem. Outright said, "You're a bacteria in here that's protected by something I can't destroy, I can't break. I can only spit you out." She straight up broke the gem. So if you want to take that scaling for what it is, Soul Sword, yeah, scales to like Oblivion Plus at that point. Now, granted, do I think he was falling through true form Oblivion? No, there's layers to Oblivion, right? But it was at least one of the outerversal representations of Oblivion. Even young Majik could neg the psychic attacks of Professor X. This is crazy because that means even her baseline, at worst, psychic defenses were like X level as a child. That's a very high threshold to have, given we saw this era of Professor X go against the Dark Phoenix, who could threaten the nexus of all realities, infinite dimensions, and he mentally battled across infinite planes of existence. So even him being like, "Yeah, I can't," there's no purpose even trying to probe her mind, that's insanely impressive. The history of Marvel itself, especially in 616, can be rewritten with Majik as the conduit of the power to do so. This is crazy because classic Doctor Strange straight up said, "Yo, I don't have the power to pull this off. However, if I use Majik's power, easy." And this is just another example of Doctor Strange just blatantly being outscaled by her and raw power. Enchantress got the absolute shit beat out of her by Magik, who could have killed her whenever. And while a lot of people don't talk about how crazy Enchantress scaling can get, she has fought Hela, even stalemated, taken on Thor and Loki multiple times, tapped into the power of Yggdrasil, gone against the power of Yggdrasil. Just crazy shit. And she was nothing to Magik. She also, speaking of Majik with her soul sword, was able to enter the mindscape of Legion with all of his personalities, broken ass personalities, who tried to jump her, and she started slaughtering Legion's personalities. No if. Absolutely disgusting. And one of the funniest fades, and we'll kind of be straight up about this. Dormammu respects and to some degree fears the power of Majik as she folded his army and him. While he was talking his shit and he was like, you're just a mortal, he did get folded and couldn't run the ones back. He got ran off the block. She was like, yeah, I would run too, bitch. Like, you don't have hands for this. And yeah, he got humbled that day. Shame to say, he got humbled. Limbo itself, and this is something to kind of round out she scales to in terms of the realm. Limbo itself is showcased to be outside of all hells and all time streams. This also includes and incorporates all realities, giving the sound argument of outer to high outer. Timelines are also infinite oceans within Marvel, not just simple linear timelines that we typically associate with the term timeline. They are much more expansive than that and much more impressive. In conclusion, thanks to the halls of knowledge in Limbo from Belasco, that she of course learned in her time there, her natural talent and time with users like Strange, Magik has developed her powers to the point that almost all magic users are in danger going against her. She is a natural hell lord, with an entire outer dimension at her disposal. No aspects of existence can escape her, and her mind is naturally one of the top tiers in Marvel. It's also really fucking funny that Colossus is her brother. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Who do you think we should put Majik against in a versus battle? Let me know. And yeah, anyways, it's been your boy, Dr. Splash. And remember, it's Yancey Street, which is